A royal finish, they say. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Sports Spotlight. I'm your host, Rizwan. And boy, oh boy, has there been action in the World Cup in the past couple of weeks. It's been just about 7 full days since we were together. I guess 7 days minus 2 hours. So here we go, here to discuss all of the action that has taken place in the World Cup and many, many other things from the wide world of sports. I'm here. I'm your host, Rizwan, and with me, joining me on the airway. Sorry about that. Got a frog in my throat. Joining me on the airwaves of Radio Azad is my good buddy and a wonderful soccer mind, Patrick Shepard. Shep, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I hope the fourth is treating you guys down south pretty well.
It is. It is. I mean, it was a typical Texas Fourth. We saw a couple of different fireworks. DFW here, we do a lot of fireworks. Every little town within the Metroplex will do their own. So we had the big one that takes place in Addison called Kaboom Town on Friday night, and then of course last night we just hung out with family and watched some fireworks. The kids went over to we watched them from the backyard because the from of our parents' place because there's a nice view, and we were hanging out with our parents. We weren't going to take them into a huge crowd, but the kids went over, walked over, um, and witnessed a fight. So very, very American in Fourth of July. Some folks were shooting fireworks, and it got heated. Luckily, we're in Texas, so the kids quickly skedaddled away because you never know how that might escalate when the juices are flowing and everybody's um,
Yeah.
getting going. But yeah, it was some exciting time. They said they actually had to run away as the things were getting heated. But hey, outside of that, kids are fine. We had a great time. Hung out with family yesterday. Um, um, Grilled some brisket, some lamb shoulder, and had a just in general just a good old time. I trust that up in Chicago, y'all had a good time.
Yeah. I
Less
mean,
exciting.
the, we're having an interesting weather summer.
Hmm.
Like the week before, I guess almost 2 weeks ago, we didn't get out of the 60s. This past week, it was in the upper 90s every day.
Yo.
So we had a lot of thunderstorms this week with the heat. But yeah, no, it was good. It was good. We've been watching a lot of football
Of course.
and some anti-football, as
You want to
I
get
would
into that
describe it.
right away? Let's talk about that. You want to talk about France and Paraguay, don't you?
I have opinions. Yeah.
I mean, let's
Uh,
let's get to it. No time better than the right now. Look, France dominated the game and the score, right? 2-0, shut them out.
oh no, it was 1-0.
1-0.
Okay,
Okay.
but so there's actually a really good contrast from just this week. So everybody knew Paraguay going in this game, massive underdog against France.
Hmm.
They're going to have to pack the box, play the deep the low block, try to rely on the counter, try to frustrate France. All legitimate things for an underdog to do. And we saw that earlier in the week with Cape Verde against Argentina.
I
But
really want to
notice
talk about
the
that.
difference in the way people are talking about the game afterwards. People are lauding Cape Verde for their effort, their resilience, their ability to play disciplined soccer without resorting to the type of tactics that Paraguay resorted to. I'll be honest. Like if I were the referee in that game, Paraguay would probably finish with six people on the field.
Mm.
And it is up to the ref to control the tactics that being employed because they were dirty, they were unethical. I know Paraguay doesn't care what I think, but I would actually, if I were a commissioner or a leader of FIFA or even CONMEBOL, the South American Football Federation, I'd ban them from their next international tournament. It was that bad because they were trying to injure French players. They were trying to do everything they could to provoke French players in to get them to get a red or yellow card. The fact that France had three yellow cards and Paraguay had zero is it was just an awfully officiated game. Paraguay were disgraceful. They deserved everything that they got. They played similarly against Germany. It's just that everybody gave them credit because they beat Germany penalty kicks.
Hmm.
But this is the same type of stuff against Germany.
So it
And
wasn't
it's just,
anomalous. It wasn't.
no, it's the way they play. It's the way they play. The only time they actually came out and tried to play like a normal soccer game, the United States trounced them 4-1.
Mm.
Okay, they the way they approach these games is a disgrace to the game. And the referee, the Uzbek referee, let him get away with it, and so he made it even worse.
I mean, that's what it comes down to, right? You gotta officiate, and this is a across the board issue in sports.
Yeah, it's not just soccer.
Yeah, you
You
gotta
know, like looking
you
in
gotta
basketball
officiate
games,
it the same way, right? You can't let certain teams get away with more because quote they play a physical game, right? That's what you
Yes.
hear across
Oh,
the
that's a
sports.
great point. Teams that have that reputation for playing physical seem to get away with a lot more than teams that don't. So teams trying to match their physicality, they get called for a foul,
Yeah.
right?
It's almost
because that's not the way they play.
Yeah, you're
And
almost getting penalized for not being an overly aggressive. I hesitate to say dirty, but maybe maybe that's where you are on this spectrum at this point. But yeah, it's almost you get penalized for not being, going all the way back to the 80s, right? To this day, what do we call the Pistons? The bad boys. What were
Yeah.
they doing? They were doing dirty stuff. They were
Yeah, it was really dirty.
kicking
right?
you, yanking on your leg as you're going up for a rebound, anything and everything that they could. But what do we call them? Oh, they're the bad boys. They were the bad boys Pistons. But that's prevailed across sports, across and internationally, right? You've got the Paraguay situation in soccer now. Um, and I think it's up to the sports leagues to really just say, I am not advocating taking the human element out, but maybe that's what's needed, right? So, I think
Oh,
you
you're talking
need
about
to,
like, well, I think there's
we need to
needs be
have
better education of the referees.
well,
And,
we
and,
need,
and look, so what they're trying to do is to not bias the referees before a game starts.
Yeah.
Right? But that's insane. You know how people play. You study. You say, hey, what does these guys get away with?
yep. I
You know,
think you need,
and look, it's the Bill Belichick Patriots of the early aughts. Why did they
Exactly.
beat the Colts? It wasn't because they were a better team. It's because they were allowed to do more stuff with the defensive backfield.
absolutely. When
Why
they're,
did they make the comeback? I'm going to say something really unpopular. Why did they make the
Atlanta.
comeback against the Falcons?
because the officiating let them.
Yes. Drives me nuts. Everybody's like, this is one of the greatest comebacks ever. No, the officials threw the game.
Yeah.
Not on purpose.
No,
They
no,
threw
no.
the game.
They were
Falcons
probably
should've
just
won that
trying to
game.
make it a little closer. Hey, they're getting destroyed. Give them a little extra, whatever it is. But that's my point. I think what we need in officiating is absolute dispassion, right? The rule is the rule is the rule. Did they
Yep.
violate it? Call it.
Yeah.
I
got really salty about that game yesterday. And I had no rooting interest. Like, I think France is amazing. I think they're the best team in there.
Mhm.
And even though I will seem like I was right if they win the World Cup, I would prefer someone other than France to win. But I actively wanted them to win yesterday because of the way Paraguay was playing.
Yeah. All right. Well,
But
sorry, go ahead.
and enough about anti-soccer.
Yeah, let's talk about soccer. All right. Personally, I was pulling for, in spite of the dirty tactics, in spite of all that unnecessary physicality, I was actually pulling for Paraguay, but not because I dislike France, but because of the next match. Because I wanted Morocco to have an easier path. Man, I am in love with this team. Morocco,
They're really good.
they are.
Okay,
And
they outplayed Brazil in that first game of the tournament where they got the draw against Brazil. They out Netherlands. The irony, so a lot of the Moroccan players grew up in the Dutch system in the Netherlands,
Mhm.
and they played more Dutch than the Dutch did in their game.
Yeah.
Against the Netherlands.
Yeah, that
And
one.
they're a really good free-flowing team. I wish that Ashraf Hakimi were not playing for his off-the-field problems. But, I mean, look, Morocco's a great team. They made the semis last time when they lost to France. I have suspicions it's going to go the same way
Yeah, I think
because
it's
it's
going
not
to
in
be.
their DNA to do it like Paraguay did when they meet in the quarters on the 9th. But no, they've been a net bonus to the tournament.
Yeah, absolutely, and they're proving beyond any doubt at all that last year was not a fluke. They're a power, at least for a little bit. I don't know if they're going to be able to sustain it across World Cups, across decades, but boy, oh boy, they're absolutely proving that last time was not a fluke at all. And
No, no,
I'm
and look where their players play. Like they're all playing in European leagues.
Mhm.
I mean, Hakimi is on the PSG, right? I mean, they're good. I mean, I think they're going to be without their top forward against France, Celibri. So that'll be. I mean, look, playing France is going to be challenging in itself, but it's going to be even more of a challenge without their best striker.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
But
that's the only quarterfinal match that is set. France,
yes, so
Morocco coming up on the 9th.
yep, we've got two good games today. You've got Mexico, England, and you've got Brazil, Norway.
Boy,
And
oh boy,
I,
the
I,
Americas
I'm,
versus Europe.
yeah, I mean, look, obviously on a Wednesday, my household was split in half with the Bosnia U.S. match.
Uh-huh.
But in this one, I think that Brazil and Norway will be fascinating because Brazil's midfield is old and slow, but Norway's not great defensively, and they're going up against a really good Brazilian front line. And Norway has on their team they got Eric Holland, who I actually think is the best striker in the world. I know some people will say Mbappe, some people will say Vinicius. It's Holland. His movement is genius. He's fast. He's strong as an ox, and he's really smart. And once he shoots, you always expect the ball to go in the net.
Mm-hmm.
You don't expect him to take 5 shots to get 1 goal. You expect 2 shots, 2 goals. And I don't know. I have no idea who's going to win this game. If you made me choose, I would say Brazil because of but that's more of their history in the tournament, I think, than it is anything else. But I think this is going to be like a 3-2 or maybe even a 4-3 type of game.
Yeah. So Norway, they're both of these teams are coming off of 2-1 victories, but the games felt different, right? Between Brazil and Japan, their 2-1 victory versus Norway's
2-1
victory.
against Ivory Coast.
Yeah. You're thinking that this is going to be a close game between Brazil and Norway?
Yeah. I mean, look.
I mean,
so Brazil against Japan. Japan was actually better, I think, than Brazil in the first half. Brazil was better than Japan in the second half, and they were better at finishing their chances, and they just had better overall players. I think Japan may have had a better system, but Brazil's players were just better.
eventually.
Norway versus the Ivory Coast. I think Ivory Coast had more overall athletic talent in the field. Norway just knew what they were doing.
They just don't have the
than Ivory
strategy,
Coast.
don't have the experience.
Yeah, and look, when I talk about Holland, I'm doing a disservice to my Arsenal boy, Ødegaard. He's a really good midfielder. He's not flashy. His personality is not real flashy, but he makes great passes. He makes great decisions. He doesn't hurt his team with bad turnovers. He's a really, really good midfielder. He's not one of the best in the world, but he's in that tier just below that. And so he and Holland, ironically, given their great rivals in their domestic league, really complement each other. And I think Norway's going to score today. I just don't know if they're going to be able to score enough. It's going to be a fascinating game. I'm looking forward to it.
I think one of the most fascinating things about playoff runs to me is the shift in perception, right? We start with these preconceived notions about who's a good team and who's not, and you kind of go through this progression of a playoff, and this happens in sports all over the place. In the NBA, I've seen it in the NFL to a certain degree.
Ask me who I think would win if the Knicks and the Spurs played again.
Right, right.
After a couple weeks off, I wouldn't put a dime on the Knicks winning that.
Yes, but during the course of the run of a playoff run, I think you definitely start, even if it's not conscious, it's subconscious, right? You start to take that into account. So at what point do we stop making excuses for Brazil and saying, yeah, but they're Brazil. Yeah, but they've got talent.
Well, they haven't won since 2002.
Yeah. Exactly.
So
But
it's been a bit, and they're not. This is not the Brazil of Pele or even Brazil of 1982.
Pele's not walking through the door.
Yeah, Pele and the Brazilian Ronaldo is not walking through the door either.
Yeah.
Now Vinicius is really good. He's a special talent. Okay, it's like Neymar got old and he handed the baton to Vinicius, right? And he's one of those players that can just create a goal all by himself, right? And you almost expect him to do that at least once a game. So that's kind of why I lean a little bit towards Brazil. But midfield wise, they're not special. They really aren't. There's nothing special about that Brazilian team in the midfield. And to have that kind of weakness in a Brazilian team is people aren't used to it, so you don't expect to see it. It's kind of like watching Alabama's football team last year. Everybody thinks Crimson Tide can just line up and run the ball. Well, they couldn't last year. It's the same type of thing with Brazil. You expect them to dominate possession with a really flashy, creative midfield, which just doesn't exist for them right now.
Yep. And that's what I was saying. It's just at some point I have to stop just giving them the benefit of the doubt because they're Brazil. I think Norway's got a legit shot today.
No, I think they have a little bit more than a puncher's chance, is what I would say.
Absolutely.
And then the other game today.
Oof. All right. I want to talk about how we got there before we start diving into the game itself. So Mexico, Ecuador, ho-hum, nothing unexpected, 2-0, but we expected Mexico to win this.
We expected Mexico to win. I thought Ecuador would actually fight harder than they did, but I didn't think they would.
Yeah. But the other one, Congo, gave England everything they could handle.
I'm in a minority opinion on this one, but go ahead.
Okay. Well, I was going to say that one surprised me. I thought that was going to be a 4-1, right? Maybe a 3-0, a 4-1, 2-3 goal win. I thought England was going to run away with it and dominate it. But boy, oh boy, not just the score, but the game itself. Now, they were never in danger, right? It didn't feel like England was in danger of losing, but just the fact that it was as close as it was, I felt was a moral victory. I know there are no moral victories in sport, but boy, that was a moral victory for what the Republic of Congo did.
Congo's really good, okay? But, and this is where I think I'm in the minority. So I watched that game. Well, I went back and watched it after it was over because while the game was going on, I was getting ready for the post 45 preventative colonoscopy. Thank you, Northwestern Hospital. You guys were very professional. The game ended right before I went under, okay? But I couldn't watch it because I was in prep room.
Yeah.
So I watched it afterwards. England dominated that game. They had better chances. They dominated the field tilt. The only thing that they didn't do, and this is important in soccer, is score.
The goal. I mean, they were down 1-0.
But yeah, they were down 1-0, but they were better the entire game. So here's my worry about England. I think England has created more good chances in this tournament than anybody else in the tournament, but they don't have great conversion rate. And part of that's because Harry Kane is by far and away their best finisher, and he hasn't been the one always getting the best chances. Now he did blow a big one in their game against Ghana, where I think they should have beat Ghana, but they didn't because they couldn't finish. But they dominated Congo. But I really worry about England today against Mexico.
Yeah.
Because that game is El Azteca. It's really you can't adjust the altitude in 5 days, which is what England's doing. Mexico's been there almost the entire World Cup. England's players, with the exception of Kane and Bellingham, all play in the Premier League, which is a brutal, physically demanding league. And look, Declan Rice, I don't even know how he just looks like he's in pain when he's breathing, right? Because of all the running he did for Arsenal this year.
Yep.
Saka can't play more than 30 minutes a game. That's why he's not coming in until the 60th minute. You've got all these other Premier League guys who have just been running to the ground for their club teams. And if this game were played anywhere other than El Azteca, I would say 3-0 to England. Right? They're way better than Mexico.
Yeah.
They are way better than Mexico, but I think they're going to lose today because they're not going to be able to breathe, and their players are all knackered.
One might say
this is going to go ahead.
Breathing is just as important, maybe just a little below the importance of scoring.
I remember when I was in the Army, I went from a base at sea level where I was running at like 200 feet above sea level every day to Fort Huachuca at 6,200 feet. And they gave us a diagnostic physical fitness test 3 days into it. I thought my lungs were going to explode. I was running a 12:15 2-mile prior to going up there.
Wow. And
that first day, I almost got passed by people on a ruck march because I was like, my legs are just not working. Yeah. I just can't, I couldn't breathe. I was in shape, and it just did not matter.
Yep.
And I think it's actually an unfair sporting advantage for Mexico. I can't stand El Tri to begin with. I think their fans are awful. They deserve nothing but scorn and derision. But I think they're going to be really happy.
Venue matters. Yeah, venue matters. But I think you're right. I'm kind of split on this game, but I would not be surprised in any way, shape, or form if Mexico pulls this off. All right. We are at a breaking point, or at a point to take a break. Shep, thank you so much. I want you to come back. I've got a quick conversation to have after we come back from this break, but I would love for you to dial back in so we can dive into all the other action that has taken place and that is to come in the rest of the bracket.
We got to talk about U.S. Bosnia.
Yeah.
US Belgium.
Absolutely. All right. All of that coming up right here on Radio Azad, right after the short break.
This is Radio Azad, streaming in Dallas, Fort Worth, and all around the world.